Hello knitters, Barbara Benson here. I'm an independent knitwear designer who also likes to make videos here on my YouTube channel, Watch Barbara Knit. Make sure to check in the description below where you will find links to all of my social media adventures online. You can find out how to join the Watch Barbara Knit Facebook group, how to find my patterns online so you can knit them up for yourself, and how to support me on Patreon. Today I am doing a vlog. A little bit of chitty chatness because I have some fun stuff to share with you that some of them are new and some of them have been a long time coming, and I am pretty excited about them. But first I want to say thank you for joining me here. Okay, the first thing I want to talk about is there's going to be a link in the description below. And once the video goes live, I'm going to try to put the link in a comment and then pin it so that it'll be like the first comment so it's easy to find. I have decided I want to try to do a question and answer style video. And the number one thing is, while I am going to try my best to have answers, I can't really do anything without questions. What I've done is I have used a function of MailChimp to create a survey, and that's what the link is to. You click on that link and a little survey thing will pop up, but it's not really a survey. It only has 3 questions. It says, what question do you want to ask Barbara about knitting? And there's a section where it's open response and you can type in your question. There's a second question that says, if I do answer your question in a video, do you want me to refer to you by a name, and if so, what name? You can obviously leave it completely anonymous, but if you have a YouTube handle, like when you comment below, the name that pops up, if you have something like that, or just something you want me to refer to you by so that I can credit you with the question, then put that information in there. And then there's a third question. If you want to join my newsletter, my email newsletter, there's a little spot where you can put in your email and check the checkbox. You don't have to do that, but hey, sometimes I put amazing things and coupons in my newsletter. So that is the survey, and it's Ask Barbara About Knitting is what I am calling it. And I would love to get some questions. And if I get enough questions, then I will try to make a video where I am answering the questions. There are some older videos that if you went and looked back, you would find where I had people sending me postcards, but that is a challenge for some people, and I wanted to make sending in questions a little bit easier. So this is what we're going to try. Now, I'm not necessarily going to be able to answer all the questions. I mean, some of them I might be able to. Another reason you might want to include your email is I might already have a video that answers your question, and if your email is on your question, I can email you that link to that video and you'll have your question answered right away. So if your question is one that is already answered by one of my videos, I may or may not be able to include it in a video. And there's some questions, I know it's really hard to believe, but there's some questions I'm not going to know the answer to. If it intrigues me, I might research and find out the answer, because that's what I typically do when I don't know the answer to something. But I will do my best to figure out if we can answer these questions and make a video that has multiple questions in it. And if I get the same question a bunch of times, then I might know that I need to make a video dedicated to that question. So look for that link, and if you have a knitting related question that you want to ask me, then definitely ask me. And, definition of knitting related, I mean, if you want to ask things about my design or maybe, what my favorite animal is, I don't know if those are questions, but if it's not too personal, I may have fun and answer that. And right now I can tell you my favorite animal is my bunny. Right now, because he's my bunny and I love him very much. But if we're talking about wild animals, puffins really speak to my soul. There's something about them that is very, very funny, and they're cute, but also kind of vicious. So bonus. Okay, so I have a list. I made a list to make sure I knew what to talk to y'all about. So first one is ask Barbara questions about knitting. fill out survey, send in your questions. The number 2 thing, I am getting ready to do a knit along. Yay! So this knit along, and if you watch the most recent video, you learned that the acronym for that is KAL. A knit along is when a lot of people knit the same thing for the camaraderie of knitting it together. And because the other people you're working with or knitting with might be able to help you if you run into snags, or you might be able to help them if they run into snags, or just in general cheerleading to get people done and through. Sometimes there's like people need motivation. So it's a knit along. The knit along I am doing in collaboration with the yarn store I work at, A Good Yarn Sarasota, and we are going to be knitting Confundo. So, it's making me look very, very pale because it's trying to color correct for the dark. So Confundo is a rather large shawl. It is knit in DK weight yarn. It is designed to use 3 skeins of Miss Babs Yowza minis. So Yowza comes in giant skeins, and Miss Babs decided people love the yarn so much that she wanted to offer it in smaller skeins, so she calls them minis. But really, they're 200 yards of DK weight a piece, so they're more like normals. So this takes 3 different colors of DK weight yarn, approximately 200 yards per color. The way the pattern works is you start at this point and you work in this simple but relaxing texture, and then you bring in your color work. You bring in the color work after you've finished about half of your first color. You bring in your contrast color, and you're doing very simple slip stitch mosaic color work. And it's just knitting stripes and slipping stitches. It's the easiest way to do color work, in my opinion. And once you've finished the first half of your contrast color and the second half of your first color, you then switch to your third color and continue working the exact same pattern in the other set of colors. So we started with a dark green, brought in the contrast of the gold, and then we moved to a light green and continued with the gold orangey contrast. And then you end with the texture you started with for the remainder, the other 50%. Now that's one of those fun things. It talks to you about how long the rows get. So that this bottom, that's 50%. If you can believe it, this distance here, that is 50% of the skein of this color. And then this is 50% of the skein. It's just much, much shorter rows. So this is the one I knit and I designed, and I borrowed this from one from work. This is one from work, and I wanted you to see the different color scheme. You can get some very, very different visual effects choosing different colors. This one, she chose like a limey green that is in the color work up here. It has a lot more contrast in real life. My lighting is making it a little bit washed out, but she went the green with the gold and then switched to this really dark burgundy. It's gorgeous. So a lot of fun. If you want to join the Confundo knit along, all you have to do is get my pattern and get your yarn, and you're ready for the knit along. We will definitely talk about it in the Watch Barbara Knit Facebook group, but you can also join the A Good Yarn Facebook group, and they'll be chatting about it in there. And since I'm doing this in collaboration with A Good Yarn, Susan, the owner, has graciously put me on the schedule so that we can have 2 Zoom virtual meetups, knit-togethers on Zoom. And so it's going to be, I have the dates written down. No, I don't have the dates written down. They're written down over here. So the official kickoff is September 12th, which is a Saturday, and there will be a Zoom meetup from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Okay. And then there'll be a second one on Saturday the 19th of September from 11 to 12. So there'll be 2 Zoom meetups that we can chat about how things are going or just sit and knit together. And it's part of the companionship of a knit along. Now, if you want to participate in the Zoom portion of the knit along, you're going to have to sign up for it through the A Good Yarn website. There'll be a link in the description below to that, and it's free. You don't have to pay for anything. The Zoom is just so we can get together, and you go and I'll have a link, and it's the sign up software, and it'll say reserve a space, and you need to reserve a space. And the reason why you have to do this is so that the system will send you an email with a link to the Zoom meetup so you can join it when the time comes. And of course, Susan at A Good Yarn carries the Miss Babs mini trios of Yowza. She has all bunches of colors, and she can help you pick out yarn. You can make a virtual appointment in that same system or on her website to shop at the store, and she can help you pick out colors for your shawl, and you can definitely get the yarn from Susan. But I'm super excited, and it'll be fun to be able to see some of y'all if you participate. But of course, we'll also talk about it in the different Facebook groups, and if there is desire for it, we can also talk about it in the the Barbara Benson Designs Ravelry group. Which, mentioning Ravelry, there's a little something we need to talk about Ravelry, but I want to seg into it for my third thing, which I'm super excited about. My website has been completely updated. Yay! So my business website is tumpedduck, TUMPEDDUCK.com. Tumped Duck is the name of my business. It's a very long story how that name came about, and there's probably a video where I talked about it. If you want to know it, maybe you should ask the question in the earlier survey thing. But Tumped Duck, if you ever want to find me on any social media, on Facebook, on Instagram, it's always Tumped Duck. And one of the reasons I chose that name is because, you know what? Nobody ever takes that name. When I try to sign up for something, it's never like, oh, your name's already been taken, because nobody else uses it. But I revamped my website. This has been a long time coming. I hired a wonderful web designer, and we've been working on this since February, and there's a few little tweaks that need to happen, but it is ready for y'all to go look at. So I wanted to mention it and encourage y'all to go and look at my website, link in the description below, see how you like it, poke around, see if you can find anything fun that you like. You can find all of my independently published patterns on there. And I mentioned Ravelry, and this is one thing. So on each pattern page, there's information on where my patterns are available, where you can purchase them. And one of the big driving factors behind this revamp was to set up a system where you can purchase the patterns directly from me. And I'm using a service called PayHip. It's sort of like Square or something. It's just they handle the money part of things. They are secure, and they handle all the VAT for my international customers. And so it's a secure system that does really well in delivering digital products, and it integrates into my website. So for each pattern, if you want to buy it directly from me, you can, and there's that option. There are also links to, if you want that pattern in your Ravelry library and you want to purchase it through Ravelry, you will still always be able to do that. And then I have quite a few patterns that are available through Knit Companion, which is the fourth thing I want to talk about, but we'll get to that in just a minute. So if you are a person who has been on Ravelry a lot in the last couple months, you will know that there has been a bit of a kerfuffle they did a complete redesign of the user interface, and it created some accessibility issues for a certain segment of people who experience migraines and visual issues, and sometimes things visually don't work for people with certain conditions, or just triggering of migraines and things like that, and it's an issue. And I don't want anyone to have to not get one of my patterns because they can't use Ravelry. And I don't want to have anyone risk their health or a possible concern to be able to get one of my patterns. So I wanted people to be able to buy directly from me. I also wanted to have a payment system that was under my control, because, having all your eggs in one basket is never a good idea. And having that basket be under someone else's control is an even less good idea. So it's just kind of diversifying and creating more options for y'all as customers to choose how you want to get my patterns. Now, I know a lot of people love Ravelry. I love Ravelry. I'm not getting off of Ravelry, so don't worry about that. I will continue to upload all new patterns on Ravelry, but it will not be exclusive. It will not be the only way you can get my patterns. If you want the pattern through Ravelry and you want it in your Ravelry library, buy it through Ravelry. If you just want the pattern and you just want it emailed to you and you can download it onto your own computer, you can buy it through my website. If you want your pattern in Knit Companion, then you can buy it through Knit Companion. And you're like, what is Knit Companion? And that is the fourth thing on my list to talk about. So Knit Companion is a very powerful app that a lot of knitters use and love. If you are a knitter who likes to use your tablet or your phone, I think predominantly tablet, but your tablet or your phone to do your patterns from a PDF digitally, then if you haven't heard of Knit Companion, you should probably check it out. And what it does is it allows you to notate and interact with the pattern PDF that you purchase from a designer. Now you can import your own the PDFs that you've purchased. You can just directly from your computer. You can import PDFs you've purchased through Ravelry into Knit Companion. And then there's the option of purchasing the pattern directly through Knit Companion at a slight increase in price, because the ones you buy through the Knit Companion store have already been completely set up to use all of the features of Knit Companion. And what I mean by features is there are ways to set it up where you have stitch markers and highlighters and row counters and all these things that make the PDF interactive. If there's the free version of Knit Companion that has some basic functionality, and then there's a subscription, and when you get into subscription, you can do some really fancy stuff, one of which is that you can tell Knit Companion what page of your PDF the stitch key is on, the thing that explains what all of the stitch abbreviations mean, and that will appear even when you page from page to page in the PDF. The knit key is still down at the bottom, so you don't have to go back and look for something. If you're really into charts, it's amazing with charts. It's got this really cool function. Look at me with all my hands. It has this really cool function where it reverse highlights, which instead of just having a color bar across showing you what row you're on, it kind of grays out all the rows you're not on, and you've got a highlight like a clear white bar that shows you which row you're on, so you can focus on that row. So it's really super cool. And if you knit from a device, then you might want to check out Knit Companion. And if you like Knit Companion, I have quite a few of my patterns are available through Knit Companion, the more complex ones. Confundo is available through Knit Companion. So if you want to participate in the knit along, you might want to consider buying it through their app. So it's about choice. It's about trying to meet y'all where you are and fill your needs the best I can. So that is the last thing. So the 4 things I had on my agenda, I wrote it down because it's hard to keep me focused, was to talk to you about the Ask Barbara About Knitting survey. If you have questions for me, click on that link, fill out the survey, send me your question. I hopefully will get some videos made from that. Number 2 is the Confundo knit along. You can definitely come and join, and I'd love to see your happy knitting face. Number 3 is go and check out my new site and tell me what you think of it. There are a few little bugs that we're still working on, a couple little icons that aren't showing up right, but who knows what's going on there. It's gremlins, I tell you, gremlins. And then that my patterns are available through Knit Companion, and if that is something you enjoy, you might want to check that out. So thank you very much for hanging out with me in this knitting vlog. We'll come up with more interesting and fun things to do in the coming videos. If you have anything you'd like to see, let me know. The last couple videos have been a little bit different, but I've really enjoyed them. I'm thinking of doing a follow up to What Kind of Knitter Are You? I have a couple other axes that I'm pondering how to label them. Or if there's techniques you'd like me to demonstrate or anything you'd like me to talk about. I like talking about knitting, if you hadn't noticed. If you like this video, please give it the thumbs up, click that like button. And if you would like to be notified whenever I upload a new video, please subscribe to my channel and select notifications. Thank you so much.